Today on the show, a litany becomes a feast. Our bodies speak theology, didn't you know? Veterans teach us about virtue, our picks of the week, and so much more. The Catholic Underground starts right now. Well, hey gang, it is time for the Catholic Underground. We are the podcast that tries to cut through the noise of the digital continent and bring you the topics that matter. It's episode number 408. I am Father Chris Decker. We are joined this week by an A squad. Can I just say? Yeah. We've got Olivia Gulino, who's at the other end of the table here. Yes. Olivia is a student of life, our resident Italian food critic, and human person.
And I am a human person. Hi, Father.
Yeah, good to be with you. And Matthew Hoffpower is a musician, an artist, and he is our resident polyglot. And he is here with us this evening, filling in for Kathleen.
Buenas noches.
Yeah.
They call you that.
Pick a language, any language. Yeah. Kathleen is on assignment.
Yes.
And so we've sent her away. Not that kind of away. She's just on assignment.
We would never do that.
Never, ever. Let's go up to the satellite of wisdom to Jeff Blackwell on the Jeff Star 1. He is the technical director of the CU, so that's why we put him on a satellite. Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, Father. Good to be here.
Yes, indeed. And Ed Ball is our video director. So if you watch us on the video feed, so for those of you who are listening on the radio or listening on podcast, you can always go to CatholicUnderground.tv, to YouTube.com/Catholic Underground, or to Facebook.com/Catholic Underground, and you will find our grim visage staring back at you. Ed makes it look pretty, though. Alrighty. So I, for a long time, and I suppose as long as I've been a seminarian, I'm not a seminarian now, thanks be to God, but you know,
once a seminarian, always a seminarian.
It's kind of true, a little bit, you know. But I remember beginning to pray the Litany of Loreto as a seminarian, and it's a really long litany of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and it's beautiful. It's all of the different titles of Mary: Mother most pure, Mother most chaste, Mother inviolate, Mother undefiled, Mother most amiable. All of these, right? Beautiful litany. Well, as it turns out, there's a lot more to just the Litany of Loreto. This actually was a whole big movement by the Blessed Virgin Mary to make her son's name known by a very kind of miraculous thing. So Pope Francis has decreed that the Feast of Our Lady of Loreto be included in the Roman calendar as an optional memorial to be celebrated on December 10th.
Okay,
so
cool.
What was once just a kind of a little church in Italy has become quite a thing. So with that decree, the optional memorial must appear in all the calendars and liturgical books, in the Mass and the Liturgy of the Hours. And the Holy Father said, this celebration will help all people, especially families, youth, and religious, to imitate the virtues of that perfect disciple of the gospel, the Virgin Mother, who in conceiving the head of the church also accepted us as her own. That's what the prefect of the Congregation for Divine Worship, Cardinal Sarah, said when the decree was published on October 31st. And I mean, that's the thing. Mary is the mother of God, the mother of Jesus, the head of the church. And so she welcomes us into her family as well. Now, here's the story about Loreto. All right. So
I love this story.
It's a beautiful, gather round, children, around the old campfire. So there's a shrine in a small Italian town of Loreto. And in that shrine is the Holy House of Mary. And it's inside of a little basilica. I say little, it's inside of a basilica. Tradition holds that the Virgin Mary was born and raised and greeted by Gabriel the Archangel at the Annunciation in her house, in the house of Mary. Now you might be asking yourself, Matthew, Italy's not where Nazareth is.
But Italy is where all good things are.
That's right, or all things end up, I suppose. So the shrine recalls the mystery of the Incarnation, leading all those who visit it to consider the fullness of time when God sent his Son, born of a woman, as well as to meditate on both the words of the angel announcing the good news, as well as Mary's response to the divine call. Supposedly, this holy house was picked up and taken by angels from Nazareth to Loreto. That is the way that the legend goes. In the holy house before the image of the Mother of the Redeemer and of the Church, saints and blesseds have responded to their vocation. The sick have invoked consolation in suffering. The people of God have begun to praise and plead with Mary using that litany of Loreto, which is known throughout the world. So that's the Holy House was brought from Palestine to Italy in the 13th century, according to what we know about the holy history of the House of Mary in Loreto. Isn't that something?
It's super interesting too, because around that time, teaching church history, and around that time, like that's when the Crusades were going on.
There was a lot, exactly,
Yeah,
and there were
so-
all these miraculous things that were reaffirming that Christ is King,
Right.
and that his family, so to speak, are triumphant. And what's really quite interesting is in the 11th, 12th, and 13th centuries during the Crusades, how much the Blessed Mother shows up. Because as you know, the Blessed Mother is revered in Islam as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so it's almost as if our Lord is saying by these images of Our Lady, these miraculous things. I mean, Fatima is another good example.
Yeah.
That Our Lady has an important part to play in how those who do not profess Jesus as the Messiah and as God will have an avenue through her. In fact, I believe Fulton Sheen talks about that. Archbishop Sheen says it's going to be Our Lady that brings Islam to Jesus. Yeah. And so we have all these beautiful things like in the 13th century that we revere now today. In 1995, Pope John Paul II called the Holy House of Loreto the house of all of God's adopted children. And he said, I quote, "The threads of the history of the whole of humankind are tied anew in that house. It is the shrine of the house of Nazareth to which the church that is in Italy is tied by providence, that the latter rediscovers a quickening reminder of the mystery of the Incarnation, thanks to which each man is called to the dignity of the Son of God." Of course, Pope John Paul II, now sainted, never minces words, and I think that's really one of the things we'll talk about a little bit more on the show today, is that it is in these activities of divine workings, these activities of grace, that we actually learn through Jesus Christ who we are, right? And that's what the Second Vatican Council reminds us, certainly, is that it is in Jesus Christ that humanity, that each man, each woman discovers who they truly are. And how much better to see that than in the life of the perfect disciple, as Pope Francis says in Mary. So now it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool thing. In fact, it's on December 10th, so I presume, I don't know if it'll be translated into English, but the prayers are certainly there. And I hope that they'll be promulgated in English, because December 10th, by our calendar, wherever in the void you're watching us, December 10th is in my future. So
It's also like
past me can have looked back on this.
I was just gonna say that's a powerhouse week for like Marian feasts anyway, because you have like the
December
Immaculate
8th.
Conception, right? Which I think this year is on a Sunday, right? So it's
I
not
believe
technically
it's on a
the feast.
Sunday. Yeah,
But
it is,
still.
but it's not. But it is.
It is, but I mean it's Mary.
Uh-huh.
And
Her
then we got Juan Diego and Our Lady of Guadalupe at
On
the end of the
December
week. So now
12th,
it's sandwiched in between.
Wow. I didn't put that together before today.
Oh yeah.
And of course that makes a great deal of sense, because one of the things that we're preparing for in Advent is that whole activity of the stuff that took place in the Holy House. The Annunciation, the kind of the Mary's, shall we say, consideration of what all of these things mean, and then from that house to be able to make the trek to Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And then presumably in that house where Jesus grows up, right, in Nazareth.
Well, I love that it's a like a feast that surrounds a house,
Yeah.
because like a house is a place of safety, it's a place of comfort and a place of like recognition, so like to have that be in association with Mary, I think is so significant, because like I think fundamentally, like existentially, where people want to go most is just home, right?
Yeah.
Even if they don't know where that is or what that looks like.
That's right.
So to have a Marian feast that's connected to a house is like a really like a neon sign kind of pointing and saying like, this is what you're looking for,
And everybody wants to go home, as you say, and how beautiful it is that in this kind of, because if you look at pictures of the Holy House, it's now kind of encrusted with these marble structures, these marble
Bling.
carvings, Catholic bling. But then it is inside of a basilica.
Yeah.
And so it's basically a church inside of a church in which there is a house that also has a church in it now.
Yeah.
And so you get this sense, kind of this nesting doll effect, that that we are in the home, the universal home that is the church, but that's also something that's kind of comfy and cozy. And I think that's really what we want to see is that there is comfort to be found in our house, the church.
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody wants to know that, and especially in a world that, I mean, if you think about the 13th century where the Crusades were happening, and everybody in the in that part of the world, in that time in the world, were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and that's putting it mildly. And then you look at today with the tremendous amount of discomfort that comes from really humanity's loneliness. I think that's where a lot of our discomfort comes, is that in the moments of silence, we no longer allow God to tell us who he is. We think in those moments of silence, we have to tell God who he is. You know, that's kind of the great fallacy of the post-enlightenment. Oh, my sounds are on. And so now we have the ability to go into a home and find comfort, and to know that in that home, the comfort that we find is in Mary's yes, and in the sanctuary lamp in the tabernacle, the presence of Jesus there. So I'm excited for this feast. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of cool. You can think about how the time versus the place, right? So you have Mary's house was moved by some angels into the same country, that like that Jesus is kind of like centralized his house of the church.
Yeah, designated that this will be the place here. Yeah.
And then the feast is in the same month as like Christmas. Kind of, you know, it's kind of cool.
So even that you're kind of finding, shall we say, a home in December.
Yeah,
as well
I
as
like
a home
that.
geographically in Italy.
Just
as
add
well
some
as the home. Yeah, it's the
warmth
nesting
to the
doll
Christmas
thing,
season.
right?
It's the babushka.
It does. It adds extra warmth to that month. Oh.
Cool. Thanks, Pope Francis.
Yeah. I'm very, very glad to see that for sure. And it's one of those things that amidst of all the stuff that's going on in politics and in religion / politics, it's almost missable. And so it's always important to bring up those sorts of things. And that's why on Catholic Underground we try to do that, right? We don't follow and toe the line of you know, Pope-splaining and things like that, as I call it. But rather, whenever something that you kind of gets past you, that's what we want to share. So a lot of people will ask that. Well, Catholic Underground, what do you do? Well, we share the things that nobody else wants to share, because they kind of miss them. So this is hopefully one of those things that you don't have to miss now, because it's there.
I like that description. I'm going to use that.
There you go. Yeah. We cut through the noise and find the still small voice. Sometimes the still small voice is an important story that you need to do a deeper Google search on, you know, and I think that that's important for you. So that's why we're here. You know, one of the things, since we've got a couple of seconds here, we briefly introduced Matthew, but I think I should get to know you a little bit better, because I have a feeling, ladies and gents, that you might be sitting in that chair every now and then when Kathleen is you know, on assignment. Which, by the way, she's in the chat room. She says checking in a few minutes before our talk. She says looking good, sounding good. So
We miss you.
yeah, we do. We miss you.
Hey, you look good too.
Yeah. From our vantage point, you're beautiful.
Yeah, you do.
So Matthew,
Type well.
what do you do? I mean, I introduced you as a musician and as an artist. That's just kind of just a little ice pick of the
Cracking the
iceberg,
surface,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a musician. I'm the lead singer of a rock and roll band, a cover band.
Yes.
Yeah, we play the oldies and goodies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff's already interested up on the Jeff Star One.
Yeah.
He wants to have a jam session, I can tell.
I can broadcast some of it up there to you.
Yeah, there you
Bring
go.
it.
He prefers a
Have the
narrow
technology,
cast.
which you probably do.
Yes.
Oh, a narrow cast. Yeah.
Yes.
That's my specialty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
narrow casting.
I do that. I do that. That's one of the things.
And
I do.
art?
Art. I love drawing, and I do a little bit of painting when called upon to do so. But I like drawing better.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at the perks of being a Hoffpauer.
HOFFPAUIR.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So for those
That's
of you
correct.
who may not be,
German, but spelled your name French, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me.
Hofbauer. Yeah. It's only supposed to be 2 syllables, but you give it all 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so we're happy to welcome you to the Catholic Underground. Happy to
you.
have you as an
Yeah.
undergrounder.
Happy to be here, not like backstage. I've been in there before.
He's been in the
That's true.
rafters before.
Yeah. We have kind of between camera 2 and 3, we have an itty bitty little spot that we can kind of slide a
Someone
fully
can
grown
nestle.
person. Yeah.
So I used to sit there and try to keep my knees out of the shot.
That's right. Yeah, it's our own little House of Laredo right there. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the Holy House of Laredo, but it's a very small little chapel.
It's little tiny.
It's very tiny. It's kind of like the Porciuncola.
I mean, I've never been to Laredo,
Assisi.
but that's what the pictures I was Googling while we were talking.
Of course,
and
of course.
it looks very
part of our
cozy.
time-honored tradition here is to Google while talk.
I just did that.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
fit right in.
Yeah.
That's right. So we hope that you'll be celebrating the Litany of Loreto as well as that feast that's coming up in the church here. Make sure, well, if you're going to Google something, because we know you are right now, Google the Litany of Loreto, Loreto, and you'll find those beautiful titles of Our Lady that can then become part of your regular prayer. Remember that you can never love the Blessed Mother more than Jesus did, and he loved her an infinite amount. So love her by asking her intercession. There's one thing that we also hope that you would do, and that is to kind of just get okay with the fact that we are the Catholic Underground. Free dancing is allowed. A little half-second dance party is okay here on the Catholic Underground. You are indeed listening to, watching, imbibing in some way the Catholic Underground. We are online at catholicunderground.tv. We're also on all the social media, so you can get us on Instagram, my poorly updated Instagram feed, Catholic Underground.
Yeah, where was Inktober?
Man, Inktober.
Don't start.
Can always count on Jeff up there, to get my back. I really wanted to do
No,
Inktober.
I know.
So wanted to do
I know.
Inktober.
I'm sorry.
The beginning of October came and went, and
There's always Inkcember.
I guess I could make up my own thing. Now, somebody,
Syncbert. Yes,
I
the
forget,
Syncbert.
it might have been the folks at Church Pop or something, but they did a kind of a, now, so for those of you not familiar with Inktober, Inktober is an artist does an inked drawing every day as a way to kind of hone your skills in ink drawing, because it's a very scary thing to make something permanent, right, with ink. But there was a group that did a Catholic version of Inktober and provide Catholic prompts for each day. And I might do that next year. I might. Or I might just start a new month. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
There's
don't
no
wanna-
rules.
I
Do it
don't
now.
want to completely rip it off. I'll probably just do it in October next year. Anyway, our picks of the week are coming up. But first, we thought we'd talk a little bit about the theology of the body and the language of the body, because that's a thing. Your
Yeah.
body speaks language, right?
Yeah, body
about-
language.
we know about body
is
language.
a lot of times more powerful than other forms of language, like
True.
verbal. not entirely in terms of like there's different strengths for each, but yeah, no, I mean, who you are speaks more. Less mediated, I think, through your body. Like when somebody's saying something, they can make a stop in their brain before they get to their mouth, hopefully, but that could be used, for good or for bad.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And that necessarily spills over into the way that we pray, the way that we kind of hold ourselves in those modes of worship, as well.
Yeah. You pray with your body for sure. You should. And I think you are even if you don't realize it. Like for instance, an obvious example is I can't always, if I'm really tired, I can't sit to pray on a chair that I can lean back on, or I have to be a few degrees removed from a position where falling asleep is, or just
It's going to happen.
around. Yeah. But even beyond that, on a deeper level, there's this phenomenon where you smile when you're happy, but you also are happy when you smile. Like there's a Shirley Temple song that
I know the one you're talking
that was
about.
my childhood. Oldies,
Mine
I
too,
told
yeah.
you.
We're aging ourselves here slightly.
Yeah.
Shirley Temple is timeless, first of all.
It's true.
The same thing goes for prayer. There's a way of expressing reverence that you already feel with your body, but there's also a way of letting your body lead, and your mind and your heart will follow that lead with your body, what you do with your body in prayer, in mass or in church, as you genuflect and you put more effort into thinking about what am I doing as I'm genuflecting, who am I genuflecting to, and you do that with more intentionality. And even sometimes, even if you can't get that far, it's just I'm just going to do it a little bit slower, which gives myself a little bit more time to think about what I'm doing, but also just the fact of your body doing something in a way that's like the way that you want to pray, can do a lot, like more than you realize, to help you to get into that mode of prayer.
That's right. Yeah, I think about one of my friends who was a Benedictine monk, and he was a convert, and he came from this kind of heavy Pentecostal background. And so, I mean, talk about praying with your body, right? The Pentecostal movement is very much involved with praying with the body. And as he would genuflect, he would always genuflect in such a very direct, incredibly recollected way, where it didn't look like it was exaggerated, but you knew that he was praying in the midst of that. And then whenever he would make the sign of the cross, it was always it was geometrically at right angles. I mean, it was very, very distinct. And it wasn't so that we could see him doing it. It was because he was praying as he was doing it, and we saw it. You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of, I think, possibility to feel bad for maybe some of the more, like, for Catholics as they age, you know, and they can't kneel as much. Like, there's in some people a mentality. Hi, up there in the Jeff stuff. He wasn't intending for me to say that out loud.
I definitely understand.
Okay, cool. And there's no reason to feel badly about that.
No,
obviously. I mean, like,
although a lot of people do. They say, Father, I can't genuflect no more. And I'm like, well, please bow, bow.
Yes.
And when you bow with everything that you've got, no matter if it's a small bow or a profound bow,
Man.
give it all you got, Captain.
Yes.
Because it's speaking theology by the way that you're worshiping. Yeah.
that's right. I think that was a subtle Star Trek reference. You wouldn't have picked that up. Anyway,
Thank you, Matthew.
So the point is, it's not about like judging or like sticking to certain rules, like, but God does care about our bodies in a very positive way. You know, not to think about it in a negative way. Like, God cares about if you mess up with your body, like if you don't do right angles. It's like, it's not about that, but it's like he created us with a body, and that gives us an extra way to like get into prayer, you know. And he always works with us. The sacraments are always physical, you know, speaking things, but also like motions and like where you're sitting, kneeling, or standing, or whatever. It all has something to do with helping you to enter into a receptive mode to receive the grace that's being offered to you. So
oftentimes we forget about that, is that the motions of my body in prayer, I may actively be doing something, but it's to help make me receptive. It's kind of like saying the rosary, right? Where the rosary is an active thing that I'm doing, but it's enabling me to become passive so that I can receive the graces that God wishes to give.
Yeah. They talk about like putting your hands open in prayer, you know, and it's not always like all the same, like for everybody. Like not everybody's gonna like vibe with kneeling as much. But there's just a caution. There's like two things I would say, which is like, cause I knew a guy in college who said that kneeling felt kind of fake almost to him. So he wanted to be like real with God. He would always sit. But hopefully he would get into like kneeling a little more, maybe because you have to kneel a lot.
Yeah, there's some liturgical things that you ought to do.
Yeah. And part of that is like you're expressing with your body the fact that the church is a body, like a corporate body.
Right, she
like,
does move together in her liturgical worship.
Right. So that's important, and it helps you to like feel one with everyone. You know, like if you start breathing in the same rhythm as someone, you know, it can help you to kind of like connect with them on a deeper way than just like thinking about it could. You know, and then the other thing that goes toward that point, if I can remember what I was going to say.
It's okay. You're doing great. You're doing great so far.
Thank you so much, Father. Thank you, Father, and with your spirit. The other thing about kneeling, I was going to say something about kneeling, right? It's definitely not all about when trying to just choose a posture for your personal prayer. It's not all about like what makes me most comfortable necessarily. If you are like agitated, you want to do something that like gets your nerves down, or something. But also it's not all about being comfortable. It's more about like your relationship with God in some way. It's more about I mean, you think about the example of like saints, and you look at stained glass or you look at paintings, you always see saints with their hands like pressed together,
Yeah.
you know, kind of
in impossible
like
angles and stuff.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, there's impossible angles, and that might be, you know, the development of art through different styles. But
Okay, well,
Could be artistic license.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I
but
wouldn't know.
you almost never see the saints like with their fingers crossed, and then there's nothing really wrong with that. But it's,
You never see them kind of in a relaxed posture of prayer, is what you're saying,
true.
right? Sometimes when we see the stained glass windows, we can see something that geometrically, like the Fibonacci sequence is perfect. However, whenever we pray, we think that we have to do the same thing, but we really don't. Even there is even some variance within our kind of corporate liturgical worship too.
That's true.
We don't have to keep our hands together, unless you're my altar server. We don't have to keep our hands together, pointed upward, but we can. There's some movement that helps us to kind of find that authentic way to pray.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just even in the little thing that you're doing with your hands, you're putting more thought into it or intentionality into it, and kind of trying to like point yourself toward it, if it helps.
And that's the thing. Even as a priest, the rubrics are kind of very lax these days about how you hold your hands whenever you pray. But I always note that whenever I'm holding my hands together, and as I'm folding one thumb over the other, I'm doing that and consciously making a cross, and just those little itty bitty things remind me that I am at prayer. Yeah. And not only am I officially at prayer, but I'm praying privately at Mass too, you know? And I kind of, sometimes I'll bring those things into my private prayer as well, because they speak, our body speaks that language. We speak it to God, we speak it to one another, and our own postures speak to us.
Right.
And kind of teach us as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
St. Maximilian Kolbe said, when you kneel before an altar, do it in such a way that others may be able to recognize that you know before whom you kneel. And that's exactly right. And our postures help with that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And I think they continue to teach us about who we are, right? Because like John Paul says in the Theology of the Body, he talks about the spousal meaning of the body. Yeah. And I think like you can extrapolate from what he was particularly talking about to like the fact that we are the bride of Christ as the church.
Yeah.
So like that when you're drawn out of yourself in prayer, you become more of that spouse or reminded of who you are.
That's right. Ooh, we could keep going on, but we have to stop right there. We are the Catholic Underground. We'll be right back after this. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To thee do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Welcome back. You found the Catholic Underground with me, Father Chris Decker. We've also got Matthew Hoffpower, Olivia Gulino, Jeff Blackwell. Our picks of the week are coming up a little bit later, but as we celebrate this, long weekend for some, it is a long weekend because of Veterans Day. And as we say, all gave some gave all, And we thought we'd talk a little bit about what goes beyond just, knowing and recognizing our veterans for their service, but realizing that kind of piggybacking off of the notion that our bodies speak theology, the witness of one who has served in the military also begins to teach us about virtuous living and the actions that a soldier performs just by virtue of the fact that they must protect, serve, and defend. We actually are able to extrapolate from that Christian values. Yeah. So we thought we'd talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that we first have to start by realizing that it's not like we're trying to like spiritualize, a secular holiday, right? But realizing that like we are the church militant.
We are.
Right? The church has three kind of divisions of who she is in her person.
Yes, platoons, if you will.
Platoons, right? So there's the church triumphant, right? Those are the saints in heaven with God and the angels. And then you have the church suffering. So that's the souls in purgatory who are promised heaven, but who just aren't there yet. And then there's us, the church militant, right? And I always, not always. I am intrigued by that now. I was confused by that for most of my life. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
that I'm some kind of like soldier. I don't know. The idea of like being a soldier for Christ kind of made me uncomfortable because I don't have like a military bone in my body. So I was just like, I don't know how to live that, right? But I think that by reflecting on our veterans and how we see that through their lived experience of the life in the military, we can understand, okay, there's virtuous living here that is applicable to us just as human beings, but also in the way that we live in the church, right? And it kind of all comes from this section of the Gospel of Matthew, not this Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew that I'm sure you will recognize because we say it every Sunday at Mass. So this is the centurion who approaches Jesus outside of Capernaum.
Right, a centurion's a soldier.
Right, a centurion is a soldier who commands 100 men, right? The cent in centurion is the 100, right?
Yeah.
So he's in charge of 100 men.
Century.
Yes. 100 years.
Centani. It's also a toast.
Va bene. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. What is that? Okay. Anyway, he's trying to distract me. So, so the centurion approaches Jesus and says, "Lord," and this is I love too that he approaches Jesus at the edge of the town. Right? He's like, "You don't even need to come into the town. I'm going to meet you here. I know that you can do this." Right? He says, "Lord, my servant is lying at home, paralyzed, suffering dreadfully." Jesus says, "I will come and cure him," right? Jesus is like more than ready.
To go.
Yeah, he's like, "Yes, let's go. Show me the way.
Show me your threshold.
Yeah.
I will cross it."
And the centurion is the one who says, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof. Only say the word and my servant will be healed." Right? So he says like, no. Like, I'm not worthy for you to come into my home, but I believe in you and I believe in the power that you have to heal my servant just by standing right here and willing it.
A Roman centurion who was presumably not a Jew.
Yes.
And had no reason to recognize the lordship, the messiahship of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Defers to him as a commanding officer, basically.
Right. Well, that's what he says. He says, "For I too am a person subject to authority," right? Because he was not like the grand poobah of the Roman military, right? "With soldiers subject to me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come here, and he comes, and to my slave, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those following him, "Amen, I say to you, no one in Israel have I found such faith. I say to you, many will come from the east and the west and will recline at the banquet in the kingdom of heaven." Yes. And then he says to the centurion, "You may go as you have believed, let it be done for you," right? So I love that it comes down to, at least what I see here is it comes down to like will, right? Like the centurion's appeal may seem kind of strange to us, that he appeals to like his authority, right? Or like when he listens to the will of his superior, and his subjects listen to his will.
And he conforms himself to the will of his superior.
Exactly.
And then that goes down shall we say, the chain of command.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's more like disposed to conform himself to the will of Jesus, right? This man who he really like has no cultural reason to believe is who he says he is, except for he has faith, right? That gift, that grace, that gratis of faith.
I like that word disposed though, because like the example of like his military discipline and his very human virtue there. It's a way that we can see that any virtue anywhere can become Christian virtue, you know, and the human development that he's undergone with his training and everything, and just living his life well as a soldier, translates into a maybe a more openness to faith, the gift of faith.
That's a really interesting point, because when we talk about the virtues, many of them are natural virtues, meaning that they can be they are brought about because of our will, because of our desire to do the things that are good, true, and beautiful. And it's really interesting that he that's the point of connection with the Lord. Says, well, I'm a man who's able to exercise these virtues. You obviously have people that you're in command of. And so you obviously are a virtuous man, and so they meet on that level. And I really find that interesting because, you know, if I think about men and women that I've known that serve in the military, they look at me as a religious leader, but oftentimes they'll look at me in the same way that now that I think about it, that the centurion does. And so we're able to meet, even though we may have a different Christian background, we are able to meet on that same level.
Yeah.
That's, Matthew's giving me something to pray about.
Yes.
Wow.
He tends to do that. Yeah. So kind of looking at those natural virtues that then transpose themselves into Christian virtues, the first one that we can identify, maybe the most obvious or the easiest to come by, which is just obedience, right? Like that's what a soldier is. That's what a soldier does, is he obeys, right? And that comes down again to that conforming of the will, right? But that's a choice. It's not like slavery, right? It's a choice.
Yeah. When I submit myself to this mode, to being a soldier, to saying, yes, I will serve, then it necessarily means that I'm going to be able to assent with my will to the one who has authority over me. Yeah. There's a trust that comes with that ability to be obedient.
Yeah. And I think it also, like, the key point is like the recognition that there's a value at stake. Yeah. That we have to participate, like we have to have order, we have to have rules in order to protect that value. So like in the instance of the military, the value is, the freedom of this country, the protection of this country and its people, that kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But in any case, when you have like obedience, like the obedience of a child to a parent, right? Mm-hmm. The child doesn't know why the mom says don't go out in the yard, right? The child can't see the snake that's in the yard, right? But if the child is obedient, then the child trusts, like you were saying, like trust in that, like, I mean, obviously not explicitly, but like trust in the fact that the mom is working towards the aim of like the good of her children, which means their safety. Yeah. So and that requires his obedience.
Even if she doesn't see the snake, she perceives a danger, a potential danger. And
Mamas be intuitive.
That's very true. That's right. You can't stop them from intuiting.
You cannot.
Yeah, that's true. So obedience is an important, not just lesson, but virtue that we can learn from those men and women who have served and served well.
Yeah, exactly. And like, thinking about it in terms of the military, in terms of our veterans, think about their obedience is really paramount, right? It's the starting point and the ending point, because people die if orders aren't followed, right? If you have people going rogue thinking that they know better, or that they can see the whole situation when they really can't, because they've been given the information that they need to operate, not the whole picture, well, then people get hurt, right? Yeah. So they have to rely on information from a higher authority who has been given a complete picture or a more complete picture, and they trust, right? It comes down to that trust again, that, okay, well, if I'm conforming my will to this person, it's because this person sees more than I can, and I'm going to play a piece in that, and working towards that final value that we all recognize is good and is paramount.
And that's not easy. Obedience, speaking as somebody who is subject to authorities over me, right, as a priest and as a pastor, it's not always easy when you don't see all of the pieces to the puzzle, and then you simply have to say, well, yes, Your Excellency, in my case, and trust that there is a larger plan at work, and one that will be for your good as an individual, but also for the collective good of what the bishop or what your parents or what your authority figures, your teachers, or what your commanding officers are trying to get you to do. And that kind of an obedience is something that is a natural virtue, but then is also informed by the divine virtue of charity and of faith. Yeah. Right? Those things that are given, those virtues that are given to us by God.
Yeah. Exactly. And so that, like, the centurion, he understands too that he, again, by virtue of faith, like we're saying, and trust, he understands that Christ has a bigger picture. Christ can grasp more of the bigger picture. Christ can grasp all of the big picture, because he created it. But that Christ can see more than he can, and he's good with that, right? He submits himself to that. He recognizes this man of authority, a particular kind of authority, and that he has a power outside of the natural order, right? Yeah. And he can't see that realm. He can't see on that level, right? But he can rely on that higher authority when he asks Jesus to heal his servant. And so his obedience is not misplaced just because he can't fully comprehend what he's asking Jesus to do.
Right.
Right.
And then that connects to the next thing.
Yes, exactly, which is humility, right? So the centurion is aware that he's in the presence of a power that's beyond his understanding, right? Which is good, right? That's a good place to start with,
and
just
probably
reality.
freaks him out a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Which I mean, I can understand like the natural impulse when you have like I don't know, if I had like someone coming over to my house that's like super, important or big deal, even if it's just to me, like if my house wasn't clean or something, I would no, just stay here, just the yard's very nice. Just stay, stay.
The outside of the town has a park. We'll be there. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Because you have this desire to like give homage where it's due, or to give respect where it's due in every way that you can, especially and including like material things, right? So this man realizes on a spiritual level and like a material level, like, okay, this man is in an order that I can't fully comprehend, and I know that I'm not that. Yeah. So I'm gonna make accommodations for that distance, right? Even though Christ is like wanting to close the gap, right? Which is I love. Christ is just immediately like, well, yeah, let's go.
I will come and cure him.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he says, I'm not worthy. That the centurion says, I'm not worthy. That's a very, shall we say, loaded statement. I am unworthy for you to come under my roof.
Yeah. But I think, this reminds me of a homily that we heard once about humility, right? Humility is not like this debasing of the self. It's not just like focusing on the negatives, things like that. But humility is rejoicing in one's littleness before God, right? So this man is humble. This centurion is humble, and you can almost like feel a sense of rejoicing. Like, yes, he's saying that he's not worthy, but he's in the same breath, he's saying, but you are, right? Yeah. And he rejoices in the fact that he can appeal to this greater authority to fulfill his need, which is not even for himself, right? It's not even a need that he has for himself. And he can see that like he sees truly, right? He sees that he has a certain kind of authority and that he does it well, presumably. But he also can recognize that like that's not enough for this current situation. So where can I turn?
Right. He can't heal his servant.
He can't, right? And so, he goes outside of himself in a remarkable way. He's not even a Jew. He's not he's a pagan, right? He's a Roman centurion. And so he goes to this man, Jesus, to seek healing for his servant.
That right there is an act of humility.
Exactly.
Right? As you remember, Jeff, of course, the word for humility has come from the word humus, which means close to the earth.
Oh, I thought that was what you ate with pita bread.
It is.
Oh,
it's
what a discovery.
Yeah.
It is also, yes.
All right. I'm very humble about my hummus.
That's why I like hummus. Keep going. Sorry.
Because of humility?
Yeah.
Because it reminds you to be humble.
That's right. Those who eat hummus cannot help but be humble. Yeah.
Sure.
I never eat hummus pridefully. I'm just saying. Gluttonously, maybe. Keep going. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the flow here.
I know I like your snack diversions. So another kind of virtue that we see in the centurion is courage, right? Yep. Because he recognizes, he rejoices in his littleness. He recognizes that Christ is able, in a way that he doesn't understand, to heal his servant. And he's got the courage to ask for it. Yeah. Right? Because, I mean, it's one thing to recognize that this man can do, this God man, right, can do what he would need him to do, and to have the humility to say that I can't do what I need him to do. Yeah. But there's that missing piece, right, if he doesn't actually do something about it, right? Yeah. If he doesn't have like that, what was that movie with Matt Damon, and they had a zoo? We bought a zoo, right? And the only thing I remember from that movie is like, I don't remember even what he was trying to do, but he said something like, if you just have like 20 seconds of insane courage, you'd be amazed at the things that you can do. And that's what I kind of like feel or sense when I read this story about the centurion. It's just like, yeah, like he had that 20 seconds of insane courage.
My servant is dying. Yeah. He is worth more to me than simply his service. Yeah. Who do I go to? And if you think about it, a lot of parents and a lot of soldiers, I would imagine too, they're like, who do I go to? Because I can't fix the thing. I can't do this. And to be able to appeal to God, it's really something. You often hear that cliche that there are no atheists in foxholes, you know? Yeah. And I think part of that is because the soldier, by the virtue of what they must enter into, going into the fray, being on the front lines, very, very real, very literally, to be able to appeal to God, because there is no other way that this situation will sort itself out. And the centurion is not just humble, but he's also courageous. Right. The soldier is not just humble they are also courageous.
Yeah.
Because those are not mutually exclusive. You can be both, because you are humble, you can become courageous.
Yeah, I think he's also got some gratitude going on, maybe. Like he appreciates his servant.
That's perhaps the linking verb there is the
true.
gratitude that joins humility and courage.
Yeah, because I think like he's a servant, so he understands like his servant on that level, and so that gives him some humility that, and also just like he recognized that even like he can serve his servant, like he sees a greater good, and he knows a greater good when he sees one, because he's always serving a greater good himself. And so and he recognizes like, I'd like to be like recognized for my service. So he already has this love for his servant, I think probably because of their bond there. And so that kind of just feeds into the.
It's really interesting too, because if you think about one of the dangers. Now, I've never served in any of the branches of the military, but if you think about the potential danger of a commanding officer to see his those underneath him, his soldiers, his infantry, as simply objects for him to exert whatever his will, whatever the mission is, there can be a great temptation to dehumanize the ones who serve underneath me. And yet we see in this centurion his ability to see the humanness of his servant, and presumably he would be the same way with his infantry, to be able to see their humanness, to carry out a mission, not just because it's an order, but to be able to carry out a mission because it is good. You know, hopefully good for the Roman Empire, but good, it is a good in and of itself. Yeah. And so that draws him into perhaps the final thing here, right? The heart of charity.
Yeah, exactly.
As you were saying, gratitude, that's a function of charity.
Well, even what you were saying about the ability to see the person and then to not use the person, but to sacrifice yourself for their good, or to subordinate both of yourselves to a greater good.
Right, and that's what when we talk about especially those veterans who have died in service of our country, we talk about that as the ultimate sacrifice. And I don't know if people always make the connection that we call it the ultimate sacrifice because it was Christ's ultimate sacrifice, not just because they died in service of the country, but because it is a direct one-to-one witness of Christ's death on the cross.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, and that's why we place such a high, when I say value, I don't mean like monetary value, but like such a high, like existential value on the martyrs, right? Yeah. The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church, right? Because what are they doing? They're paying that price for Christianity with their life, right? And there's no greater sacrifice. There's no greater gift that you can give someone than the gift of your life, right? And we experience that in, the vocational life, certainly, just in whatever state of life people enter, that gift of self, that full gift of self,
the laying down of your life in whatever mode that is.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And then even like we were saying, like as the body of the church, right? We are the spouse of Christ. We are the bride of Christ as the church, who is the bridegroom. So when we give of ourselves in the context of that relationship, well, it's a spousal relationship, and it can't be a partial gift of self, right? We can't chop ourselves up into discrete parts and say Jesus only cares about this stuff, right? Jesus wants all of it. And that takes recognition that, we are something, we are good, we are worthy, and because Christ looks at us in love, right? That's what he does for the centurion here. And I feel like the charity and courage pieces are almost like intertwined, because I feel like Christ's gaze must have been like super encouraging. You know what I mean? Like encouraging in the like real sense of that word.
Yes.
Like Christ's gaze must have been so loving that it gave him that courage to go outside of himself for his servant, right? Who otherwise would have died.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that entails, right? I am a man with men subject to me. I understand how authority works. I'm coming to you and willing to give you whatever it is that you need for this good to be done on behalf of the one that I am now laying down. I'm laying down my reputation. I'm laying down all my authority here. I'm laying down everything, just so that you would speak the word. That's the other thing. Like, he recognizes that there is power in the command given. Because I mean that's what a commanding officer does, right? I don't care how you feel about it. This is the command. The word is spoken. The order is given. Go and do the thing. And he recognizes that in Jesus, and that's what we recognize too. Before we receive Holy Communion, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. If there is anything that is venial, that is upon my soul, that will prevent me from this moment of communion, then speak the word now, Lord, so that I can approach you as that centurion approached you with full faith, with full courage, with full humility, with full everything, so that I effectively, though I'm coming forward in the communion procession, I am prostrating myself before you to do whatever it is you will do. And if you think about that, that is also a one-to-one relationship with those who serve in the military, is that they're not just war machines, but because you who serve in the military are capable of all these natural virtues, you can teach us about charity.
Absolutely.
You can teach us what love is just simply by your service. And so if nobody has told you this today, it sounds cliche, but no, thank you for your service, because there's more at work with the work that you do. It's not just simply the kind of the day-to-day filing papers and running drills and this and that. No, you teach us actually how to be better people, because you can teach us what virtue is all about just simply by punching in and by doing what it is that you're called to do, by following those orders for a greater good that is bigger than yourself. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do to all of our veterans out there, all across the world, those who fight for the side of good and the side of what is true and what is right, and dare we say beautiful. That's what being a soldier is. And that then informs us of how we are supposed to be part of the church militant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, we did go farther afield there, but I think it was worth it for sure. I could talk about this all day, y'all. Okay, all right, okay. It's part of that show, a part of that time that we like to call
the CU Pick of the Week.
I know I messed up the intro, but it's okay. It's all right.
We forgive you.
It's how we work. It's how we roll. Matthew.
Me first.
Yeah, you're sitting in Kathleen's seat.
That's right.
So,
and it is only right and just that
That's
I
true.
pale in comparison to someone.
that is correct. Okay, so your pick of the week, is it animal, vegetable, or mineral?
It is vegetable.
Oh,
Father.
wow,
Yeah,
glad I got it right.
Yeah, and a little bit of mineral maybe.
Okay.
Too, who knows?
not
so
vitamins,
my
is it?
pick of the week is the stank eye, which
What?
is no, I'm kidding. It's a very useful social construction. I'm kidding. No, my pick of the week is.
I get the feeling that there's some subtext with Olivia going on here.
or with Kathleen.
All right. Or is it the name of a coffee?
Yeah, no,
Oh, all right.
actually,
It could
no.
be.
Yeah, that's kind of close. My actual pick of the week is the Montezuma's dark chocolate, absolute black, 100% cocoa
Whoa.
chocolate bar.
So
Oh
it's
my.
yikes. I've never heard of that level of cacao in a bar.
Absolutely, 100% cacao.
Yikes.
100
or
of your
cocoa,
percents.
if you will.
That doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't seem edible.
It's quite edible, actually. No, maybe not to some people at this table, but yeah, I've developed a liking for dark chocolate in my short lifetime, 28 years, and I just recently, you can buy these at our Trader Joe's at least in New Orleans in Metairie, but I don't know if
I've
they
never
have.
looked at ours.
Yeah, well,
I
they have
haven't.
these. They're
Nope.
like just Montezuma's absolute black, 100%. There's two ingredients. One of them is cacao nibs is the second ingredient, which is these
The
little,
little
The
itty
little,
bitty.
like,
yeah, and they act as like little crunchies in the texture.
wow.
Who doesn't like a
So-
crunchy in a bar? That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah, crunchy and two crunchies walked into a bar. Am I right? No, I'm just kidding. And then the other ingredient, the first ingredient is chocolate liquor, but it's not an alcoholic. It's
No, right.
just
It's
in
just
word-
the
in-
hyper
yeah.
condensed chocolate.
Right,
Yeah.
like liquid is the the same root there, the polyglot here. So and that's what it means. I had to look that up because I'm on Whole30 right now, and we
Oh, I
can't have
see.
alcohol. But I was like, can I have this? There's no sugar,
Ah.
and it's
you can.
really you like. A quarter of a bar is a serving size, and I ate a quarter of a bar one time while I was staying up late doing homework. And
Was it a bit much?
you might say so, but I would not. I thought it was lovely, and it's actually energizing, kind of. Yeah, like I mean, there's a little bit of caffeine. There's also some other like stimulants,
Natural chocolate
in the
powers.
yeah. It's quite something. And then the fact that there's no sweetness in it means you could maybe put it in some savory things, like make sauces out of it. I don't know. Do what you will.
Olivia, we won't allow you time for a rebuttal, but we will
Yes.
allow you time for your pick of the week.
Allow my face to be the rebuttal. No, my pick of the week are these reusable produce bags. So I always, like in good conscience don't want to like waste all these like produce bags for buying like one avocado, one tomato, all that kind of stuff. So I found, we'll link to them in the show notes. I found these reusable ones that are just made of this kind of fine mesh, and they have little drawstrings, and you can wash them.
Nice.
So I bought them, and I put them with like the stuff that I'm supposed to remember to bring to the grocery store when I bring my own bags, but I never do. So anyway, so hopefully that'll work. But
do they extend the life of the produce at all?
I don't think that they're those kind. I think it's more just like to save, from all the like throwing away all these like tiny plastic bags. Yeah,
I like that. Oh, so you use that in place of the
little ones that are you spend 5 minutes trying to like get it.
That's true enough. Yeah. Anyway, Jeff, your pick of the week.
I'll make it quick because I want to hear about yours.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Ty, I had an opportunity to visit with him on the radio this past week.
Yeah.
He's a Catholic husband, father of 5 boys. He's an author. God love his wife.
He's great on Twitter.
Yeah. And his Twitter handle is the GH is silent.
Yeah, because his last name is spelled Tighe.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's funny. Tommy Ty, he's got a really cool show called Repent and Submit. And you
Friends on Catholic TV.
There you go. And listen, you can find him at CatholicHipster.com. He just came out with a new book here. In fact, if you look up Catholic Hipster Handbook, you'll see a real cool picture of a saint.
Oh.
And these handbooks are about, saints, as a matter of fact. Cool stories about saints.
That's right. Yeah, I just, in fact, got the Catholic Hipster Handbook, the next level, the second book.
Yes. Yeah,
and I'm getting ready to read it and review it.
Good.
So take that, Ave Maria Press. I'll be reviewing that shortly. My pick of the week this week is my book of the church's year. Now, you probably have seen on social media these little graphics. It's a book from the 1940s by a high church Anglican, Enid M. Chadwick, and it's illustrations of the entire church year. Really beautifully done.
Yes.
If you like illustrations that are period, this is a great little book. It's finally been reprinted after a very long time. We'll put the links in the show notes and also a link to the pictures in the book, and you can decide whether or not you want to buy it. This would be great for your kids, and it's great for those who are illustratorally minded, like myself, and perhaps like Matthew Hoffpower, who sits to my left. You're right. So there you go. That's my pick of the week, and I'm really excited to kind of thumb through it in the church's year. Now, be advised, this is the old calendar, so there's some saints that you may not recognize, but that you probably should get to know.
Very good.
Yeah, nice. Very good. Alrighty. Well, Jeff, we are always very grateful for our viewers, our listeners, our benefactors, those of you who have been praying for us since 2006.
Yes.
When we first started this shindig. And Jeff, we're always grateful for him.
Absolutely. Have mercy. Put your hand on the laptop.
Yes.
This week, the Catholic Underground is possible because of people just like you. Join the growing number of undergrounders at CatholicUnderground.com/donate. Also, an important way to support us is to like us, heart us, star us, and share us on your social media platform of choice. And a big thank you to Ed Ball for taking out the trash this week.
There you go. Yeah. What you can also do is tell your friends. Podcasting is one of these things that you tell your friends. If you like it, recommend us to them. That would be great for sure. Alrighty, our panelists this week have been Matthew Hoffpower. He's our resident polyglot. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, indeed. Olivia Gulino is at the.real.omg on all of the handles. Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks, Father.
Yes, indeed. Our technical director is Jeff Blackwell at Jeff Blackwellis on the Instagram and Twitter. Thank you, Jeff.
Always a privilege, Father.
Our research assistant, the employee of the month, is Jim Hayes. Our video and graphics director is Ed Ball. And you know me. I am Father Chris Decker. You can follow me on all the social medias at Digital Catholic. We hope that we've helped you cut through the noise and find that still small voice. You're the Catholic Underground, where faith gone digital, and we'll see you next time.
From the Catholic